In his 2022 book, Illuminations, Alan Moore is referred to as an English writer widely regarded as the best and most influential writer in the history of comics. I'm not 100% sure if I agree with that, but it certainly is hard to imagine anybody more influential in the world of comic writing in the last 50 years than Alan Moore. And I think The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is an example of how great a writer is. It may be one of the best examples, although I do want to look at some of the other Alan Moore comics as well eventually. And there are so many layers to this story, and we're looking at volume one here, that it's hard to keep up with all of them. You almost, if you're like me and you're not up on your Victorian literature, you almost have to keep your phone handy to keep Googling things to get all of the references. But even if you don't do that, the basic story is still a good one. So it works on multiple levels because the story it tells of essentially the Justice League, but with Victorian characters, is a good story in and of itself. But to really appreciate it, you want to understand the depth. And I think that starts with the name, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, because the collection of heroes or anti-heroes that are used for this, the Invisible Man, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Nero, Alan Quartermain, of course, and Nina Barker. Of all of them, none of them are really heroes except for maybe Alan Quartermain, but not in the condition that he's added to the group. Really, it's Mina Barker, the one woman in the group, that is the leader and the one who is more focused on solving the mission, on saving England. And I find that fascinating. But you get all the little hints and references throughout the book. So, of course, there's the reference to Auguste Dupin as the Edgar Allan Poe hero from his detective stories, and Mr. Bond, who the League reports to Mr. M, who turns out to be Moriarty, James Moriarty, who is, of course, Sherlock Holmes' nemesis. And all of these interconnected Victorian era stories, even if they weren't part of Victorian London, they still get to be part of the stories. And what is what makes this fascinating and make the layers work. And then the ads in the back and the credits in the front all add to a compelling story.